Hey guys, just wanted to do a quick little bonus episode for the Help Me Get Good series. I had a lot of similar feedback today that maybe for the purpose of creating content, it would be a better idea to, for the Mulligan, give a few different options. Not that they'll all be, options for this linear gameplay that we have going, but that if we're trying to talk about, what a person would do in a Mulligan situation, having more than just one option to process and go over and get your guys' feedback on would be better. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to, I'll be able to look up and find what my starting hand was. There it is, ready to go. Does look like we're going to go with what I assumed on camera. And so for that reason, I will just shuffle this up. Going to be the same scenario. We're thinking about Thor versus Expert Claw with the Masters of Evil in there. So thinking about that, here are just a few other potential first hands. I'll tell you what I would assume I would do with the Mulligan. And more options for you guys to give me some feedback. All right, so I already looked at this one. I'm thinking it might be a little more complicated than the, said, easy Sudoku puzzle that the one from the last video was. So we have Energy, Asgard, which I'm going to say right now is an absolute keeper, for Asgard, Chase Them Down, and Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Now, a little glare issue there. To me, it is clear that we would be keeping these two. Getting +1 to his hand size, that's one of Thor's biggest weaknesses, so getting that out in the beginning of the game is a big deal. Now, I could see an argument for holding on to Spider-Man in hopes of maybe we don't have quite enough yet to even get Asgard, unless you're counting, pinging Mjolnir as a resource. So we definitely would have a hard time getting enough to get Spider-Man and Asgard out in the opening hand, but maybe holding on to him into your hand to play later, I could see an argument for. You're also likely to maybe draw some cards at some point with Thor, but I could also see an argument for holding on to for Asgard. It is a 1 cost, which kind of stinks, but it could help you go and look for a God of Thunder card, which is that permanent resource. And since I have other allies, I think that's what I would go with on that one. So, what do you guys think? I'd be keeping these 3, throwing back these 2, and hoping for something good. All right, this is probably a better example of one that's stumping me a little bit. So, we have a Lightning Strike and Into the Fray, Angela, my love for Angela, the Bifrost, and Chase Them Down. Immediate thoughts are, I know the value of supports and upgrades, so getting those out early and getting to have them for the whole game is really key. Also, if you remember, the scenario that I have kind of drawn myself into, Claw's Underground Distribution, requires that you discard until a minion comes out, and my minion was Tiger Shark. So when I think about this, his 6 hit points is exactly how many Into the Fray does. So would part of me just want to keep Into the Fray, even though I'm ignoring all of its real value, just because I could afford to get it out and just get rid of him, and he is a pain the longer he sticks around. I don't feel a lot of conviction towards that. I think maybe a cheaper option is to keep Lightning Strike, since this can potentially cut through the tough status cards that Tiger Shark will potentially acquire. I think I would probably just... The 2 I feel a strong conviction about are these 2. And then maybe I could keep this one. I'd be more likely to keep this one if I had a double resource card or something to that effect. As it stands now, maybe I would just keep these two. What do you guys think? All right, I'll do one last one here. So again, this is Thor, aggression, verse, and if you needed the whole entire deck construction, that would be in my last video, episode 2. We're facing off against Expert Claw with we got Tiger Shark dealt out to us. So what I have here on this one is Valkyrie, God of Thunder, Helicarrier, and for me, I can already tell I'm going to be a little torn here. Hulk, and Godlike Stamina. Yeah, so for me, these 3 are considerations, but that's a lot of cost. It's a lot of resource costs to bring all 3 with me. And here's something I guess I'm trying to understand better. When it comes to, a mulligan or what to keep, how often do you guys choose to keep something that you maybe assume you won't play in the first hand, but man, a permanent resource, almost the equivalent of a permanent resource, a once around resource, what's the word I'm looking for? Reduction. Gosh, words are hard. It does say reduce, so reduction, I guess, is the word. But or Hulk, who's a pretty powerful ally, and especially with Tiger Shark coming out. I could see myself maybe trying to get these 2 played and just hanging on to him, but it's gonna be a really tall order when I'm Thor and don't, I know I could use the resource on him. So I don't know. I think I will go with that. I think my hunch would be to go with these 3. Mostly because I don't have to worry about damage right off the bat. Valkyrie's a little more expensive and doesn't have the same ceiling that Hulk has. He can hurt you too, but yeah. So there you go. There's 3 other options. None of those will be, I'll still go with my original first draw, but would definitely love to hear what your guys' thoughts were on these 3 different scenarios.